So today, guys, I'm going to go hard. I'm going to go fast. And we're going to talk about mastering objections. You guys cool with that?
Yep.
Excellent. So first thing that I want to let you know is what I'll cover today. I'm going to give you step-by-step exactly how to handle an objection, but I'm going to start off with a couple of key points on why we do that, a couple of theory points, and here's why I'm actually going to do that.
Here's the deal. If you got this and you don't have this, you ain't going to use that. You agree with that, Jerry?
I agree 100%.
If you have the script and you don't have...
So he's talking about what I'm going to give you is like the step-by-step, the script, what to say. That's what he's talking about right now.
Have the understanding, they ain't nobody there. Comes out of your mouth, what? And you're going to be like, oh, shit. Well, I don't even know why I said that. That didn't work, okay? All right? So, Jared, today's seminar. Here's the deal.
So guys, that's why I'll be going over a couple of key points first. We'll be talking about a way to handle any objection. You guys get some of these right now? Yeah, you know you do. Right? If you got 0 of these or could handle every single one, how much more money would you make, right? So the first step, I want you guys to commit to Roleplay Daily. I don't care if it's 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, or an hour. But I want you, in our office, we Roleplay Daily because it's what you do behind closed doors that gets you ready for showtime. I'm a huge Red Hot Chili Peppers fan, so if anyone recognizes John and Flea there, and if anyone's a sports fan, same thing, right? What you do, the squats you do in the gym, the practice is what makes you great on the field. So if you guys aren't going to actually practice what I'm teaching you today, then this whole thing is for nothing. So I want you guys to commit, write that down, commit to Roleplay Daily. Because the only other option is you practice on your customers. And that's costing you guys a lot of money. Right? Now, the first objection you need to handle is the internal objection. Right? You guys remember the story that Grant told about the waitress in the steakhouse?
No.
Who was paying attention when they watched that? So Grant says, hey, which steak would you recommend? And the waitress says, I'm a vegan. Right? So it's how much do you internally object to the objections they're giving you? I don't want to buy a Harley right now. It's too cold. Would you yourself believe in that objection? Are you telling that to yourself? So I want you to write this down. What internal objections do I have about my own product? Right? Like in our office, so we want business owners to invest in their people, right? In development. So for us, it's very important that we have no problem letting go of money for our own personal development. So we all spend a lot on personal development. So that's the first thing. And do you guys know what the most important sale is? Did you guys train on this? Who could tell me what the most important sale is?
Talk louder. No, it's embarrassing. Commit to it.
The next one.
What's that?
Natasha says the next one. The answer's
Good answer, but no.
Damn it. Showing yourself.
Man, you guys got to quit watching the videos. You guys got to take in the videos and see how can I apply it. You guys got to really watch this stuff because it's money. If you could get it, and you're right, it is up there. It's selling yourself. When you get sold on your product, you sell more. Right? The 90-day phenomenon. That's why someone comes in, they sell like a maniac. So that's super important. If you guys don't get that first, I could teach you the best word tracks and strategies in the world. It won't work. Right? So I play this little game. This is something that Grant says, do you believe someone should go into debt for your product? And I take it to an X level. Will your product save someone's life? So you could play these games like, hey, how valuable is my product really? I could do it with yours, right? How do Harley save lives? How about this? Social media. There's bullying. It causes depression. There's studies that show that, right? You could give up your life because of social media. Harley saved lives. Right? No cages. I mean, I didn't mean to make that heavy. That's not actually real. But like, if you think about it, like, it could actually drastically improve someone's life, right? So like, you guys got to start thinking like, whoa, how valuable is my product really? Like, okay, first thing, it's cool. But like, what are all the ways that like, if they didn't do this today, their life would literally be worse? Like, that's the level. That's what Grant means when he says, do you believe someone should go into debt for your own product? You guys probably heard that from the program. So you could come up with all these ways. So this is an exercise that I want you guys to do after this call, because we won't have time for you guys to do it right now. I want you guys to take a picture of this slide right now. And make sure you do this after I get off the call. Whether, if you guys could do it right now, that'd be cool if you have time in your meeting. If not, do it tonight. And then I want Cam to check that everyone did this. If you're not going to do it right now, check tomorrow that they did it. And what this does, it makes you a lot of money because it sells you on yourself. If you put it in writing, I'm telling you, it's super powerful. All right, so let's get into objections. Any questions so far?
Nope.
Okay, so what if Warren Buffett came in to buy a Harley? He'd probably complain it's too much money, right? What is that a complaint or an objection from Warren Buffett that it's too much money?
Complaint.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys, that guy, he does okay for himself. I think he's worth about $80 billion. I want you guys to picture this. If you guys were personally multi-millionaires and you came in to buy a Harley or a car or a house, you'd still probably complain about the money. You'd still probably want to get a good deal, right or wrong?
True.
Yeah. Like, there's a story that Grant tells where he sold his house to the Waltons. The Waltons are worth, I think, about $40 billion. They own Walmart. And they were arguing over like $1 million. Can you give me $1 million discount? That's pennies to them, right? So I want you to think about that. Your customers, when they say, hey, it's too much money, or it's the wrong time, is it a complaint or is it an objection? Most of the time, like probably 8 or 9 times out of 10, it's a complaint. So I want you guys to write that down. Most of the time, it's not a real objection, it's a complaint. They want to do the deal, they just have to voice the fact that it's too much money. So, or there's an unspoken objection, right? So what do you do with a complaint? And Grant talks about this in the closing program. If you guys have gone into the closing, guys, I would spend like hours on the program. Like, I'd go deep. Like, don't just do the 6 segments a day or whatever your requirement is. Like, go deep, go into the closing program. Grant explains what to do with a complaint. You agree? I agree. It is a lot of money. Smile, right? You want to do Visa, MasterCard, or American Express? Everyone try that on the count of 3. Read those 2 together. All right, 1, 2, 3.
I agree, it's a lot of money. Do you want to put it on Visa, MasterCard, or Amex?
Now, what you guys are thinking is that's way too aggressive. That's, oh man, Grant Cardone's American. That would never work, right? That's what you guys are thinking. You don't think this would work? It's worked on you. You guys ever go to the movies? What's the one thing that you complain about every single time that you buy when you go to the movies?
Popcorn.
Yeah. What do you end up buying anyway, every time?
Popcorn.
Yeah. Man, the pimply-faced teenager. So the pimply-faced teenager is a better salesperson than you guys sometimes, because what does he say? I know, man. Shit. You want to do cash, or you want to put it on a credit card? There's a line over there. You're like, all right, put it on my card. Right? All right. Now that we got that out of the way, steps to see. So some of you were saying like, okay, maybe sometimes it is actually the money. So sometimes it is valid and it's not a complaint. Right? Or maybe they need to think about it. Or maybe their wife will literally put them in a guillotine if they make a decision without them. Valid. And this works for objection. We'll talk about objection X. So it could work on anything. Price is too high, not buying, not doing anything until I have bad credit. It works on everything. Here's the steps. Now, if you guys want more on this, I want you to write this down. This is something that Grant explains, okay? He goes through, I think it's about a 3-hour webinar that goes deep on this stuff, but I'm just going to give you exactly the key strategies, and I've kind of synthesized it into a short presentation for you guys. But if you guys want to go deep on this topic, I want you to write this down. I want you to go certifications, advanced certification, webinars, and inside there's going to be one called Mastering Objections. Or if you're lazy, you could just use the search bar and just type in Mastering Objections and you'll see it. And it's a 3-hour webinar. So by the way, guys, I'm not a master. Grant Cardone is the master. I'm just teaching what he teaches. And I've used this a lot and it works. So step 1, listen. Pause for a second, take it in, genuinely care about what they're saying. A lot of times as salespeople, we're always just thinking of the next thing that we're gonna say, but we completely missed what they said. We didn't really make eye contact. We didn't really take it in, right? Second step. What's the first rule of selling, guys? Wrong, it's not agree. It's always, always, always agree. And let's get the Grant Cardonisms in. Although I just violated it there. I agree with you guys, it is agree. And as you know, Grant Cardone says it's always, always, always agree. The most violated rule in all of selling. Right? Guys, before this job, I worked at a job where I would violate this about 12 times a day, and I didn't make a lot of money. I actually worked for the Ottawa Senators before this job. Anyone a hockey fan there?
Yes.
Nice. One person in a Canadian company likes hockey. We're doing well. So check this out. I don't know if you guys saw this a couple years ago. Basically, to summarize, they went from one of the best seasons in history to a cluster F. I can't swear on here, but to a cluster storm of like the worst scenario ever. Like last place, people hate the owner, bad publicity, right? Oh, the team sucks. They're terrible drafting. What did I used to do? I did what most salespeople do. No. They're building up. They're getting a lot of good players. We have a lot of hope. I hate the owner. Well, really, like what he meant in the media was this. What happens when you guys think about your spouse or your partner? They say black, you say white, and then the more that you say yours, the more you kind of separate. This doesn't just apply to sales. What happens is when you agree, now at least you're like, okay, you're both over here now, and now you can work it out. So why not start there? So what I started doing in that job is when I got on the program, I actually bought this program. I started agreeing with people. I agree with you. Yeah, man, if I was in your shoes, Ben, I would hate the owner too. I agree with you. We do suck right now. Even if the customer isn't always right, doesn't mean don't agree with them. Doesn't mean don't see their way, right? At least see it how they could see it like that. Okay, so check this out, guys. On the count of 3, I want you guys to read each of these, and I want you guys to say it with a smile, okay? And it's going to sound something like this. It's going to sound something like, I'm with you. I agree. I understand. You're right. I feel the same way. I totally get it. Okay? Actually, let's do this. I'm going to say each one, and then you guys repeat after me, all right? You guys ready?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm with you.
I'm with you.
I agree.
I agree.
I understand.
I understand.
Man, you're right.
You're right.
Man, I feel the same way.
I feel the same way.
I totally get it.
Totally get it.
So guys, when they say like, hey, it's just we're coming up on winter, it's not the right time, you want to say something like, hey, I feel the same way. And then what you could do is even make them right, like add to it. Like say whatever they're thinking. Like, yeah, I just thought about that yesterday. Like, man, I'm not going to get a chance to get on my bike because it's going to be too cold. So I totally get it. Like you want to pump this up. Like don't just like, you could just say I agree, but the more you add to it, they're like, oh wow, this guy really gets me. So really emphasize that, because now you're on common ground. Next step is we're doing what we call the popcorn test. It's isolate. Is this the popcorn that you're really just complaining about and we're good to go? Or is this a real thing? So aside from the money, aside from the fact that it's a bad time, aside from the fact that winter's coming up, is there any other concern? Is there anything else stopping you from getting this done today? Right? So you'd use either one of these. So let's use what's the biggest objection you guys are getting right now?
The season's ending.
Season's ending. So I want everyone to use this first sentence here. So aside from the season ending, is there any other concerns? All right, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Aside from the season ending, is there any other concerns?
Okay. So now what you're doing is best case scenario. They go no. Or sorry, best case scenario. Well, actually, let's start with if they say no. It's actually the money. Now, what do you find out? A lot of salespeople, they spend a lot of time on the wrong objection. Right? The guy says it's the money when it's really that the season's ending. So now you want to find out what's the real objection and handle that. Don't handle the wrong objection. You'll waste a ton of time and you'll miss a sale. So if they're like, no, it's actually not X, it's Y. It's actually the money. So now you go back to step 1. Okay, cool. So it's the money. And by the way, like it is a lot of money. And so you go back into it. Now, if they say yes, what did you find out?
Good to go.
Well, I mean, almost. I like it. You're like, oh, I smell a close. What did you find out about the objection versus a complaint? They said that's my only concern.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, the phone just cut out there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry, someone was going to say something. So what is it? Yeah, what does it tell you if they say, no, there's no other concerns, that's my only concern? What does that tell you about that being an objection versus a complaint?
Objection. Or it validated their objection.
It's telling you like that's the one thing. That's kind of a tricky question, but it's telling you that whether objection or it's a complaint, you're on the right thing. There's nothing else that's stopping them. It's just that one thing. So if you could handle that one issue, then you're good. So now what you want to do is you want to validate and see if that's actually real. So you want to say that wouldn't stop you from doing this, would it? So they're like, no, it's just the fact that it's, sorry about that, guys. So they're like, it's just the fact that we're coming up on the end of the season. That's the only thing that's stopping me. So you want to go, well, that wouldn't stop you from doing this, would it? All right, everyone try that on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
That wouldn't stop you from doing this, would it?
All right. No, it wouldn't. Great. You want to put on a Visa, MasterCard, or American Express? Oh. How much time did you just save right now? Right? Or if they say, yeah, it would stop me. Of course it would stop me. That's what I'm saying, man. It's the end of the season. I wouldn't even ride it. Okay, why is that? Probe. What does the doctor do? Probe. Man, this is where it gets uncomfortable, guys. This is where the masters go. It might get stinky. You know? But you want to find out their real issue. So the masters that make the most money, they probe on people. When I bought this program, I bought it from my colleague, Morgan. And I was like, I gave him objection after objection after objection, and he just kept on probing to find out what's the real thing, and he asked uncomfortable questions. He was like, how much money do you really want to make? How much money are you making now? Like, what are your goals there? Like, what's the biggest problem that you're facing right now that you're just like, man, this is like really hard for me, and I'm not living up to my potential? Like he was just going in on me, and what happened is when you ask hard questions, and Grant talks about this in the program, it gets them to think. Like they start selling themselves. So you want to say like, oh, why is that? Like, tell me more about that. And then they start going off on you like, well, you know, like it's really cold in the mornings, and I usually like to ride in the mornings. And, you know, and I got my wife and my kid, and they just start, ideally you want them to kind of puke information on you. And what does that do once you know what's really going on with them? You know, now you can handle it. Yeah, exactly. Like you ever have your boyfriend, girlfriend, spouse, husband, like they're just like pouty, and they're just like, and like, what's wrong? They're like, nothing. You're like, crap. Right? Because you don't know what's going on with them. So what happens when you actually know the real reason? You could figure it out and you talk it out. That's kind of like with the customer. So that's why the probe is so essential, where they're like, when they say, yeah, that would stop me. So you go, why is that? And then once you have the information, be like, look, at the end of the day, you know, I get that you're dealing with X and Y and Z. Okay, tie down. Look, man, this is what you want. It's what you need. Use a Grant Cardone close. You know, you could do this sooner or later, Let's take time out of the equation and get it done now. You want to do Visa, MasterCard, or American Express. And that's where I can't spend enough time on this call. Like, there's not enough time on this call to go through closes, but there's over 300 objections, corrections, and closes in the program, and they're all there for you. All right. So recap. Commit to daily role play. Can everyone commit to at least 15 minutes a day to partner up with someone and role play?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
If you knew it meant a 30-40% increase in your paycheck, you do it every day. You might come in and do an hour, right? So the second thing is deal with the internal objections. Do the exercise I told you. Cam, hold your people accountable to getting that done. Ideally now, if you can, if you have time, and get resold on your product, right? When I was at the Sens and people said the tickets are too much money, it's too far, like I totally believed, I agreed with their objections. Like, I'm like, when they were like, oh, it's too much money, I'm like, in my head, I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't pay for it. How can you close someone? Either one, you just don't, or two, it's not genuine, and you're like being like Jordan Belfort or something. And you have to do coke to like pretend you're happy and get it done. Now, no one here wants to do that. So what's better is to just find out how you genuinely want people to have your product. All right, so do that exercise. Know that most objections are complaints. It's ballsy, but that's why you have to role play it. Man, I'm with you. How soon do you want to get started? You know? People laugh when you do that. Like, it shows confidence. You're like, man, this guy believes in his product. You know, use humor in the close too. That's another thing that you guys could try to do that is really effective. And then use steps to check if the objection is valid. So if you guys want to take a picture of this, that will keep you going. Any questions from you guys?
Oh, okay.
Oh, did you hang up on him?
No.
Oh.
No. I'm still here.
We didn't have enough time to take a picture
Man,
of that.
Oh, okay, my bad. Man, you have to be at Grant's level to hang up on people, on clients. That's like only when you bank $500 million can you hang up on clients. That's the, I forgot to include that slide. All right. You gonna sell some bikes today or what?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Man, you guys are awesome. Hope you guys crush it today. All right, give a big round for Cam for putting this together again, guys. He believes in training. It's freaking awesome. All right, guys. Connect with me. My name is Ryan Gorelick. I appreciate you. Let me know if there's ever anything I could do for you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ryan.
Okay, appreciate it, guys.
Okay, let's get some bikes outside. Eric, direct us where you want us to put them. Right up there. Okay. A little bit more direction.
And also,
in order for me to fully be sold.